Welcome back to the Rams Active Channel. I'm your host, as always, Rune, and I'm here with my good friend and wiffle ball fanatic, JT. JT, it's been a minute since we've been on here, man.
Yeah.
It's a new league season. Start of the league year was Wednesday. It was yesterday as we're recording this. But man, the Rams have been making some moves lately, and I'm
Oh yeah.
quite pleased, as you probably are too.
Oh yeah. The McDuffie move was an absolute must, whether it was McDuffie or it was another elite corner. Uh, the Rams went into this offseason with a huge cornerback problem, and they fixed that cornerback problem with Watson and McDuffie so far. I'm very curious. We'll get more into it, but I'm very curious to see if they still draft a guy to help out their secondary. Maybe they make another move to, like re-signing Akella Witherspoon. I'm very curious to see what they do, but I'm very happy with the moves they've made so far, and something tells me they're not done yet.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I thought we were gonna trade for a corner, and as it got down to it, my guys that I thought were probably the most likely trade targets were McDuffie, obviously. He was probably the most outspoken I was about a potential trade candidate. And then I really liked Denzel Ward too. I think Denzel Ward
Mm,
would have costed way more, and
I agree.
yeah, and you look at what you gave up for McDuffie. I don't think the Rams were trying to go out and give up more than that for Denzel Ward. But Trent McDuffie, man, um, we've seen him terrorize the 49ers in the Super Bowl, so that's already a good sign for me.
This is true.
He's been great in coverage. He's really good man coverage corner. Been a top five corner coverage wise in PFF grades past couple seasons. So that's another really good thing. But man, Trent McDuffie, he was also given an extension. He is I don't know the exact numbers, I forgot, but he is the highest paid corner in NFL history. I didn't expect him to be the highest paid in history. I think we were going to give him a good deal, but not that big of a deal. But I mean, you give him a huge payday, and what this payday means is that the Rams truly are high on Trent McDuffie and trust him to be that number one guy in the cornerback room, which is something we've really lacked since the departure of Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I was talking about it on the Ramblin' Rams podcast the other day with
Go check
Jordan,
it
and
out,
it
guys.
was yes, sir. And we were basically saying that it's kind of similar to the absence of, not quite the absence of Aaron Donald, but a similar comparison because you need a guy like Aaron Donald on the defensive line to, or at least an elite talent, maybe not Aaron Donald because nobody's Aaron Donald, but you need an elite talent like that at the position to be a contender and to get the job done in big moments like Aaron Donald did. Same thing with Jalen Ramsey. You needed an elite guy like that who at the time 2020 2021 was the best corner in football. And you needed someone elite like that to get the job done to lock up the other team's best receiver, such as at that time it was DK Metcalf in Seattle or Debo Samuel in San Francisco, whoever it may be. Now it's JSN, guys like that. Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. in the future. Who knows? So now we have McDuffie to take on that role. Is McDuffie the best corner in football like Jalen Ramsey once was? Maybe not yet, but in the next 4 years, I think it could be a possibility for sure. I mean, I would rank him in the top five of corners right now in the NFL. I think Surtain's the easy number one. I Would you agree with me on that? Surtain number one.
Yeah, I think I could say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think McDuffie's probably a top five corner in the NFL. And look, I don't think that's me being Rams bias. I think that's just me as a football fan being honest and saying Trent McDuffie is an elite player at the cornerback position. It is a great move, and I've seen a few people say that the Rams gave up too much. I haven't seen Rams fans say that, but fans of other teams and just football fans in general are saying that the Rams overpaid him and that they gave up too much for him. You can't say that yet because what happens if McDuffie has a great year, we have the best defensive football and we win the Super Bowl? Then did we give up too much? Of course not. Or McDuffie could get hurt week 1, we have a bad year, first round exit, then yeah, you can say we gave up too much. But it's way too early. But I want to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think we gave up too much? Do we think? Do you think we overpaid him? What are your thoughts?
I don't think we gave up too much because you look at the haul. Let's just briefly touch on the haul. You
Mhm.
give up pick 29. That's not your only first round pick this year. You still keep pick 13. But you give up pick 29. You give up a 2027 third rounder. And then you give up, I think it was a fifth and sixth rounder from this year. A lot of people are going to look at, you give up four draft picks for one player, but what they haven't realized is that this is a team that doesn't need to hit on like three different positions in a draft. The Rams honestly don't need to hit on really any position in this draft. I think as of right now, I would probably draft a wide receiver three in the first round or maybe trade out of the first round potentially if you get a couple pick haul and get a couple of guys in the early day two, kind of round two, round three kind of thing. But I personally don't think we gave up too much. I mean, a fifth and a sixth rounder, you can either get total duds or you can get guys like, the best football player to ever touch planet Earth, Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
So the fifth and sixth round, it can develop players, but is it rare? Yeah. And then obviously you give up the first round pick. That's probably the main thing that the trade was centered around. And then you give up a 2027 third rounder next year. So,
Yep.
yeah, big whoop. But no, I personally don't think we gave up too much for Trent McDuffie. I think this is a great addition. And another sneaky good addition is his former teammate, well, not former because they're still teammates, but teammates in Kansas City, Jalen Watson signed with the Rams on the first day of the legal tampering period. JT, I want to get your thoughts on Jalen Watson.
I will be honest. I just asked you the question about was McDuffie overpaid. I'm kind of worrying was Watson overpaid? Not that he's overrated. Two very different things. Very good player, going to help our secondary tremendously. But I almost kind of wish that we gave him like a prove it year. I know he's not a rookie, but it's a prove it year for the Rams because it's his first year on the team. I almost kind of wish they were like, hey, here's $7 million to play one season with us. If we like how you are with McDuffie and possibly Akella Witherspoon, Emmanuel Forbes, all those guys, Kobe Durant, maybe if we re-sign him, we'll get into that too. If you play well with these guys and you significantly help our secondary, then we will extend you to that big 3-year extension like we already gave him. I'm not upset with the contract they gave him. I'm not hating on it. I'm just kind of surprised they gave that to him. I expected more of a 1, maybe 2-year deal. 3, a bit much, maybe. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he was overpaid. Like, he's not that good when we haven't even seen him in horns yet. So, got to wait and see. I don't think our secondary could be too much worse. Knock on wood. I don't think it could be too much worse than it was at times last year. At times it was good beginning of the season when Akella was healthy and Forbes was playing his best football of his career. It looked good, but then there were times where it looked like, a JV high school squad was out there. It was just on and off, and I feel like Watson's going to help this secondary be more consistent, and hopefully that's consistently good rather than consistently not good. So I think it's a good signing. Contract, I'm a bit skeptical on, but I will wait to see how it plays out. What do you think?
Yeah, this was a player who I originally didn't really look at that much. When it came to the Rams' need at corner, I thought the Rams should have went out and got a guy like Jamel Dean. Jamel Dean was my number one guy. Going into
Mhm.
free agency, I wanted some guys like Alontae Taylor, a couple other names,
I think
maybe like a Chidobe Awuzie or like a Cordell Flott. Those are just a couple
was
of other
Josh
guys.
Jobe a free agent? I think he was,
Josh
right?
Jobe was a free agent. He's another guy I kind of
Yeah.
looked at too. But
I wouldn't have
I
minded
remember
him.
watching a Jake Ellenbogen video, and he's just going over his guys. I always watch Jake Ellenbogen, man. He's the best,
Mhm.
probably Rams content creator
Oh,
after JT because JT's at the top,
yeah. Of course.
obviously. I mean, what do we even? But no. I remember watching a video. I think it was the day before Jalen Watson signed, and it was him kind of just going over his corners, and he listed Jalen Watson and he liked Jalen Watson, I think it was the most. He held like a little vote of like anonymous corners, like which one would you take? And the one that most people took was Jalen Watson. and he kind of just went over the positives and negatives of his game, and it kind of changed my mind on Jalen Watson and made me like him. But I was like, I think we could get him, but I would rather have Jamel Dean. And then I'm sitting in my second period English class on I think it was either Monday or Tuesday, and then all I see is Rams sign Jalen Watson, and I was happy. I was big old smile on my face. I remember doing this. People around me were like, "What are you celebrating for?" I'm like, "The Rams just got Jalen Watson," and they're like, "Well, why would they do that?" I'm like, "Well, because we need the corner." And
Yeah.
they're like, "What do you mean you have that dude like Emmanuel Forbes? Wasn't he playing good?" I'm like, I think
Mm,
you're wrong there, but no, kind of got kind of sidetracked there. Told my own story, but Jalen Watson, he's a great player. I mean, he's another one of those players from that Spagnolio system in Kansas City. He's a
mm.
two-time Super Bowl champion. Same with McDuffie, and obviously you have the chemistry there. But Jalen Watson is another great corner and man coverage. So I think this could potentially mean a change in the scheme for Chris Shula. Obviously, last year he was kind of unable to pivot from what was going wrong. But you get two new corners in this room and two really good corners at that. I think Jalen Watson would have been the cornerback one on this team last year. So to
Oh
have
yeah.
Jalen Watson here and Trent McDuffie on top of that, that's just so good.
I love
What
that
would
they
have
got
been,
two guys from the same team too.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like the chemistry's already there, so I love it. And it's not like you got a receiver and a corner from the same team. You're like, oh, good chemistry. It's two corners. They're playing together. They're playing the same position, so it actually means something in this case. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's man coverage, and this is better for the D line. This is gonna help the D line out a bit because when you think about it, playing primarily zone coverage last year, they played about roughly 75% of their defensive snaps in zone coverage. You look at it, and the defensive line kind of got hung out to dry because you get any old quarterback back there with an above average O line, they could find a receiver open in like 2 seconds, like that, because
Yeah,
they were playing weak zone coverage and the DBs weren't able to pivot to it. The safeties were, but the corners not at all. So to get some guys who are really strong in man coverage I think is a positive for both the corners and the D line as well. I think we're gonna see a little bit more sacks. I think we're gonna see Jared Verse get some more sacks. He's not been known to be a sack guy. He's more the pressures. Byron Young is more the sacks, but this D line, I think their stock just went up, in my opinion. So not only by adding two really good Super Bowl winning corners to your roster, I don't think you just improve the cornerback room, you in turn you improve the D line as well. So that just adding those two corners makes the defense 10 times better. And this defense is already looking like it could be top five next year. I mean, that could be a hot take, but I think if Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson truly play up to their potential in this defense, the Rams defense will be top five. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I would argue in the first half of last season that they were a top five defense in football. I really
yeah.
would. And then the second half of the year, I would argue they were at times close to a bottom five defense in the league because they were, like I said before, they just weren't consistent. But I remember, first 7, 8 weeks of the season, even after that game when we beat Seattle, that you and I did the live stream when we beat Seattle 21-19.
That
I
was a
would
fun live stream, wasn't it?
It was. And I would say up to that point that the Rams had one of the best defenses in football. I would say probably behind, Denver, Seattle, and whoever else you want to put in there. But I would say they really did have an elite defense. I think reality kind of caught up to them in the end because Akella Witherspoon was hurt. They didn't have our true number one corner. And I've said this before I said it on the Ramblin' Rams podcast, but I think Jared Verse needs to step it up a little bit more next season. And I love Jared Verse. I know you do too. But I think a lot of Rams fans are afraid to say that Jared Verse kind of needs to step it up because he's a great player. And, I'm not going to sit here and say, Jared Verse stinks. He's got to do better because that's not true. But I would like to see statistically his numbers go up next year. Now, I think after a really good rookie year, winning defensive rookie of the year, I think teams at first were game planning their whole game plan around him. On the other team's offense was their whole game plan was watch out for Jared Verse. And I think that opened up opportunities for Byron Young, opportunities for Nate Landman, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, the conductor. But I would like to see Jared Verse step up his stats a little bit this year. I know stats aren't everything. I'd rather win the game than him, improve his stats. But I I would like to see him actually. I feel like every play he's bull rushing, which is like his thing. But every single play, I feel like he does it, and sometimes he even gets past the quarterback, like not to the quarterback, but past them. And I would like to see him tally a few more sacks this year. I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled because I'm used to Aaron Donald all my childhood, but I would like to see Jared Verse really turn into a monster this year, and I think he will.
Yeah, kind of just going back to many fans are afraid to admit that Jared Verse did kind of have a production drop off this year. I'm not afraid to admit it at all. I mean, Jared Verse, one of my favorite players on this team. He is a Florida State Seminole. I'm a Florida State Seminole fan,
Mhm.
even though I live in California. Don't know why I chose that life.
I
Not
mean, I'm a
not
Michigan fan in New
not
Jersey,
a not a good
so
life.
I'm
Yeah,
not much
we
better than
have our
you.
own struggles, man. But
Yeah.
but no, Jared Verse, he does need to step it up. And I remember watching that Instagram reel come out. I remember watching all of that and agreeing with every single little point you brought up. And yeah, I think the bull rush is something he heavily relies on. And besides that, he doesn't really have like a swim move or like a spin move or anything like that. I
Right.
think he needs to kind of work on that. And Jared versus production is something he's actually taken accountability for. He was just recently on Max Crosby's podcast talking about how Kobe Turner texted the Rams defensive group chat when Stafford announced he'd be coming back on the night of NFL honors and was like, "Hey, we need to be better. Stafford's back," and he agreed with that as he should.
Mm.
But yeah, Jared Verse, I think Jared Verse does need to step it up next year. I think Byron Young had a better season than Jared Verse, statistically, obviously, but yeah. The defense as a whole, honestly, just needs to step it up. Their ability to look like a top 10 defense and then a bottom 10 defense in one season kind of just is very frustrating and is probably the reason we are not covering the three-time Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams.
You know it's a problem when you have the best offense in football and you don't even win your division. What does that tell you? It
That
tells you the defense needs to be better, right?
yeah. And one of my little sayings that I don't know where I saw this, but it's kind of something that stuck with me and is kind of just going to be my motto uh pretty much just going forward and kind of just like my main reflection from last season in one sentence. It's offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And
Mhm.
that's what you saw with the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. Their offense led by Sam Darnold. It doesn't matter at this point. Having the number one offense is cool. You can have the MVP. You can have an offensive player of the year candidate. You can have the league leader in receiving touchdowns, but if that defense is giving up too many chunk plays and not holding their ground, then how are
Mhm.
you going to expect to win a Super Bowl? And
Mhm.
that's literally what happened. But kind of just segueing from that, a little bit of relief, at least to me. Two key re-signings from the Rams. First, Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee is back on, I don't know the exact numbers, but it is a rather team friendly deal.
It's a 2 year,
Um,
8 mil.
yeah. So how do you feel about that? Because I think it was needed, honestly.
I love Higbee, so I'm glad he's back. I think I saw like a lot of negative feedback from that signing for some reason. I don't really get that,
It's
but
nothing negative about it.
yeah, Sean McVay loves to do the 13 personnel. He loves to use three, even four tight ends in a game. There was a game this year where I think it was the game in San Francisco. I think three
It
different
was.
tight ends had a touchdown for the Rams, and I believe there were four total tight end touchdowns in the game because George Kittle had a touchdown for the Niners. It's obviously a very important position, especially when you're in an offense like the Rams offense that loves to use the tight end position a lot, especially this past season. And I feel like that was something that they didn't do as much in the Sean McVay era until this year, and we saw their offense go from here to here. So clearly it had to do something about the tight end position. I'm very glad Tyler Higbee's back. I'd love for him to stay healthy. I'm not going to sit here and expect him to play all 34 games in the next 2 seasons, but I would like to see him get close to that because I think a healthy Tyler Higbee with Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, and a second year guy like Terrence Ferguson can really do some damage. And you already have, in my opinion, the best receiving core in football with Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and who knows, maybe they go out and get a wide receiver 3 now that Tutu Atwell is gone. So I think it's a huge signing. I think it's actually more important than people are making it out to be because if we don't re-sign Tyler Higbee, we probably have to burn a, a mid-round draft pick on another tight end, which I don't really think they want to do that, which they obviously don't because that's why they re-signed Higbee. But I'm a big fan of the signing, and I also believe that Tyler Higbee is the greatest Rams tight end ever. So I don't see why it would be a bad signing. How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't see a close second on the greatest tight end in Rams history list. But
Mhm.
no, this is like I said, it's a team friendly deal. It's 4 million a year. So that's cheaper. That's a cheaper deal than what Tutu Atwell got. By the way, Tutu Atwell signed with the Miami Dolphins today. Thank you, Tutu, for everything you did. One of my favorite memories in my times of going to Rams games, which I've only been to a handful of Rams games in my life, but going to Rams Colts week 4 and seeing Tutu Atwell stretch an 80-yard go-ahead touchdown that ended up being the game-winning touchdown, and just being able to look at my friend, who's a Colts fan, who was screaming in my face earlier as stuff was going down. One of the best moments of being in a Rams game in my life. So Tutu Atwell, 5-year career with the Rams. Thank you, Tutu. But kind of getting into that Tyler Higbee signing, I think it was needed. I think a lot of people who were negative about the signing were guys who saw the kind of things coming out about the Rams possibly being interested in Kenyon Sadiq, who is a player I really like coming out of Oregon. Really athletic. He's an athletic freak. Um, but I think getting Tyler Higbee on a team-friendly deal, I don't see how it would harm anything. I don't see how that deal is negative at all. Um, but another re-signing, and one that literally I woke up to this re-signing, you and Jordan Bear in the group chat talking about it in the group chat. Um, I wake up to my alarm, I look at my phone, and I get possibly the greatest news I've ever woken up to. Ever. Rams re-sign safety Cam Curl, and I shot out of bed so fast. I shot out of that bed right there. I literally look at it, I was like, oh, like I was like audibly, like I wasn't even thinking about this. Like I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I got out of bed and I was just like, oh, and I was so happy. Cam Curl was one of my favorite players to watch last year, and Cam Curl is a main reason that the Rams even went to Seattle. Who knows what
Yeah.
happens if Cam Curl does not intercept Caleb Williams in overtime?
They
You
lose
could have
that
been
game.
looking
They
exactly,
lose that game.
exactly. All the Bears had to do is go down and kick a field goal, and they would have won that game. But Cam Curl picks off Caleb Williams, and you go down, and the thicker kicker boots it through the uprights, and you're headed to Seattle.
If the
Like,
Bears got the ball to where Cam Curl intercepted that ball, like you said, they kick the game-winning field goal, and we go home in the divisional round.
yeah, that game's
Big
over.
difference from getting to the championship game. Big difference. So I love that signing. The only negative thing I could possibly think about it is that we're not gonna draft Caleb Downs, which is who I wanted. But it's not like Cam Curl isn't a good player. He's a very good player. He's a very, very big part of this defense. I know he's one of your favorite players on the team. He's a really talented player. That's the only way you could put it. He made our secondary watchable last year. There were a lot of rough spots in our secondary, and he was one of the guys that kind of stepped up when it mattered most, especially in that Chicago divisional round game. So I'm very happy Cam Curl is back. And how many years was he re-signed for?
Three.
3. Nice,
3 years for number 3.
very nice. Yeah, great
But
signing by the Rams.
yeah, I think that was a no-brainer. But kind of just recapping what the Rams have done in the offseason kind of free agency period so far. You re-signed Tyler, or let's go in order here. You trade for Trent McDuffie. You get Tyler Higbee. you get Cam Curl, you extend Trent McDuffie, you sign Jalen Watson, you sign a new long snapper, and I think his name is Joe Cardona,
Yep.
former New England Patriot and Miami Dolphin.
Mm.
So that means Jake McQuaid is out of here.
I believe he
He
retired, right?
I haven't seen any retirement posts, but I mean, I would assume that he retired. But
No more
Jake
St. Louis
McQuaid,
Rams.
yeah, no more St. Louis Rams. That makes me sad. But Jake McQuaid saved us from the Alex Ward and Josh Carty train wreck. That was definitely much needed replacements.
Yes.
Um, but no, you get Joe Cardona, and then not a lot of moves are made from the Rams, not at all until I think it was it yesterday?
For
Yeah,
what signing?
they re-signed Kyer Thomas, um,
Okay.
veteran guy who's been a mentor. And then you get a guy who I'm actually pretty excited about. His name is Grant Stewart. He's a former Detroit Lion. He was actually a part of new special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone's special teams when Stewart was a member of the Indianapolis Colts. I think it was in 21 or 22. But no, Grant Stewart, he had a special teams PFF grade of 83, and that
Mm.
is a great upgrade to a lacking special teams unit. And even better news, I think that means we are finally free from Troy Reed. Celebration. Celebration. Wow, man. But no, this dude's a dog. Great special teamer, and I could even see him being a linebacker 3 if he has a good enough offseason program. But what are your thoughts on that on today's Grant Stewart signing?
I think it's a good signing. I mean, you pretty much covered everything. It kind of frees us from Troy Reader. No hate to him, but it's just kind of what Troy Reader wasn't the best fit for the Rams. I think you and I could agree with that. I always had mixed feelings about him. I do have respect for him because he was one of the guys that stepped up on that defense the Super Bowl hangover year when everybody and their mother was hurt on that team. And he was one of the guys that was healthy and would actually step in and play. I remember that game against, I was going to say Oakland, Las Vegas against the Raiders on that Thursday night football game with Baker Mayfield. He was not even playing his position. He was actually playing on the defensive line rather than at linebacker because we were so hurt we needed to move guys around. So I've always had respect for him because he stepped up when we needed guys that just go out there and play the game, even if we weren't going to win. And is he the best player? No, but I respect his time in LA with the Rams. But I do think Stewart is an upgrade for sure, and I'm glad he's a Ram too.
Yeah, and now we're gonna kind of get into a whole yeah, I guess you can call it a hole, but it's just a position that needs to be filled. The Rams have a need for a backup quarterback. Now, as we're recording this about an hour or so before we hopped on here, Kyler Murray, who
Mm.
I would have personally chose as the Rams backup quarterback, signed with the Minnesota Vikings. But that still leaves a couple of candidates for the backup QB position. Jimmy Garoppolo is not signed anywhere, so you could bring back Jimmy Garoppolo, and I know the Rams probably. I hate to break it to you, JT. They like him, but that's not who I would choose personally. That's who my mom would choose because my mom is a is
49ers
a
fan, right?
is a big Jimmy G fan, a big 49er fan. So kind of makes you wonder how did a Rams fan get mixed up with a house with two 49er fans in it? I don't know. Glad I'm a Rams fan though. But
Because it's Rams' house. That's
who?
why.
Yeah, it's whose house? It's Rams'
It's
house,
Rams' house. It's
exactly.
not 49ers' house.
No, yeah, it's yeah. Why would it ever be 49ers house?
They're a great
But
third
kind of,
place team. I'll give them that.
yeah, they were great in third place last year. They were great getting their season ended by Rashid Shaheed, who I think should be a Los Angeles Ram. But Les Snead doesn't want to win the Super Bowl, so I mean, you kind of gotta. I'm kidding, obviously, um, let's get into some potential backup quarterback candidates. So I think you had a list that we looked at earlier. I think we looked at Spotrac.
Yeah.
Was it Jordan Bear that sent that?
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of list a couple of backup quarterback options that we could see the Rams go out and get.
Well, there's a lot of decent backup QBs out there, and some of them aren't even backups. I know, just to go over some guys that were signed. You said Kyler Murray was just signed. Tua was just signed the other day to Atlanta. Aaron Rodgers is still a free agent if he doesn't retire, which I think he would have already if he was going to. But I don't want any of those guys. The guy who I want the Rams backup QB to be is Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
And
Oh man, great
yes,
minds think alike.
yes, I would love for the Rams to get him because when Kirk Cousins was younger and more of a starting caliber QB, similar play style to Stafford, I feel like. And I feel that if Stafford were to go down, obviously Kirk Cousins isn't as good as Matthew Stafford, but a similar play style would fit the playbook and would fit the offensive play style that the Rams have. He's not mobile, but he has a good arm. He's an older guy. I think him backing up Matthew Stafford makes too much sense. Speaking of that list, by the way, I saw John Wolford's name on there. If they take John Wolford, I don't care if John Wolford's the 19th quarterback on the roster.
Oh
I
man.
will. I don't know if I'll be able to watch a game knowing he's on the sideline, but yeah, Kirk Cousins I think makes too much sense to be the Rams backup QB.
Oh man, that just brings up memories to the first Rams game I ever attended. SoFi Stadium, Super Bowl hangover year, the quarterback battle. I kid you not. I had to watch the two starting quarterbacks for that afternoon.
I know what you're gonna say.
It was John Wolford versus Colt McCoy. It was Rams Cardinals, and that was my first ever Rams game.
And
I
they
didn't get to
lost,
see a
right?
thriller, and the Rams lost. It was a horrible game. I don't remember anything from that game except the Rams getting bailed out off a fumble that should have been called a fumble, but the whistle was blown dead, and J.J.
Mm.
Watt was pissed at the refs. But that was an awful game. Uh,
Can I
but
say my
I'm
piece
glad.
about John Wolford?
Yeah, let's go on a little John Wolford rant here.
No disrespect personally to John Wolford, but I hate him. Uh,
He's actually subscribed. He's watching this.
oh yeah, is he? All right, John, if
Yes.
you're watching this, that hospital ball you threw this guy right here, yeah, you almost ended his career, and you sort of
Oh,
came
oh, I
close to
remember.
ending his.
I watched Cup's last game that season. I remember sitting in that stadium watching Cup go down, and I just have
Mhm.
this. This was literally the face I had. I literally was just looking at him getting carried off the field. I was just,
And it's because John Wolford stinks at football. That's why.
yeah.
Because he threw him a hospital ball,
Sam
and
Bradford could never.
Sam Bradford would have thrown a much better ball than John Wolford with his left arm. I don't care. But yeah, I think I I I I mean, how much can we really talk about John
Bryce
Wolford?
Perkins would have
But
threw a better ball.
oh, absolutely, Bryce Perkins was better than John Wolford. I think
Oh
I'm better
man.
than John Wolford. You're better than John Wolford.
Yeah, that is the winner of the New Jersey Football League best quarterback right here.
Thank you, thank you.
That
But
is the
yeah,
New Jersey Football League's Matthew Stafford.
yeah, thanks. But I'm just glad you didn't compare me to John Wolford. But we can we
Man.
can we can take it easy on John Wolford for now. But yeah, I hope we get Kirk Cousins. That was the point of the whole John Wolford rant, was that I hope we get Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins' familiarity with Sean McVay back in the day in Washington when Sean McVay was a tight ends coach. Sure, it's a tight ends coach, and wasn't he the offensive coordinator there too?
Yes, yes,
I'm
he
pretty
was.
sure that was his last job before he took the LA job. But
Yeah.
you get the familiarity with Kirk Cousins already from their times in Washington. But I
Mhm.
think the main reason I really want Kirk Cousins, you want to know why?
Why?
Kirk Cousins meme content. Oh
That
my
would be
God,
sick.
that
That would
would
be sick.
be legendary.
Dude, Glock
After
9 and then
yes,
Kirko Chains
Glock
backing him
9 and
up.
Kirko Chains. Are you kidding me?
That
That
would
would
be
be
sick.
the meme posts, the win posts, the
Oh
anything,
yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
And I want Kirk Cousins to get a ring. Kirk Cousins is a great guy. I remember watching Netflix's The Quarterback, and
Mm,
seeing Kirk Cousins on there twice. He's just a great guy,
hmm.
and a good enough quarterback. I think he'd definitely be I think he'd definitely be a high end QB2 and a backup
Yes.
quarterback, and great meme potential. That is the best thing about him. His meme potential.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
I would argue Kirk Cousins is still better than a few starters in the NFL. I think he's better than Geno Smith. Geno Smith
I
was the
don't, I
starter
don't
last
argue
year.
with you there. Kirk
You know.
Cousins, you saw Kirk Cousins, and the Atlanta Falcons walk down the Rams, in
Hmm.
on Monday Night Football last year, and that just shows that Kirk Cousins has juice left in the tank. And I think when they're looking at a backup quarterback, they're not just going to sign a guy to just be a fill-in backup quarterback. Hence why they're not just going to be like, oh, hey, Stetson Bennett, you want to come be the next option behind the reigning MVP? Like, no, you're going to bring in a guy because if this is truly an all-in season, God forbid Matthew Stafford goes down, you want a guy who can win you football games. He's not
Absolutely.
going to be Matthew Stafford. Nobody's Matthew Stafford,
No.
but you want a guy like a Kirk Cousins who knows how to win football games, who can go out there and play good enough football to hopefully go out there and get you a win. And I
Hmm.
think I will say this right now. If the Seahawks can win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, I'm not saying Sam Darnold is a horrible player. Sam Darnold used to be a horrible player, but he's kind of shown his own this last season. If the Seahawks can win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold at quarterback, I think the Rams, with the proper defense, could win a Super Bowl. God forbid Stafford goes down and Kirk Cousins has to carry us the long haul and try to get us to a Super Bowl. I think
Hmm.
there's going to be almost no margin for error right there, because Kirk Cousins has shown some struggles with some turnovers. But I think um, Kirk Cousins, I don't think he'll play bad football when he's surrounded by Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua,
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, uh, Makai Lemon when he suits up in horns. God, he's so nice. Um,
I think Kirk Cousins could be better than a few guys starters in the NFL if he was younger. I think he could be one of those guys like that would fit like the Sam Darnold mold, where like he kind of his career is resurrected by a good team around him. I feel like that's what Cousins would be with the Rams, except he would just be the backup, obviously, because we have John Matthew Stafford, the reigning MVP and the best quarterback in football, on our team. So yeah, Kirk Cousins as our backup makes too much sense to me.
I can't think of a better quarterback who's ever played football than Matthew Stafford.
No, I
There's
mean,
this one guy who I think he played for like the Patriots and the Buccaneers or something, but him,
oh,
eh,
Gronk?
no,
Was it
not Gronk.
no?
I think his name was like Bob or something like that. I don't know, some guy from New England. He's not really good. I think Matthew
Oh,
Stafford,
okay.
greatest
Okay.
quarterback of all time. Just
Oh,
kidding, Tom Brady.
didn't he go
Don't.
to like Michigan or something?
Who, the
Did
best
he?
quarterback of all time?
No, the guy you were just talking about on the Patriots and Bucks. Didn't he go to like Michigan or something?
Oh yeah, but the greatest of all time went to Georgia. Actually, the
Yeah.
greatest quarterback of all time. You want to know who the greatest quarterback of all time is? The
Uh,
greatest quarterback of all time is Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis would have been electric, and we should all be ashamed that Jordan Travis is not playing meaningful football or football at all today.
mm,
I'm truly
yeah.
disgusted. I miss him so much. But let's get back to the Rams football. We've kind of gotten on track. We've gone on rants. We've gone
We
on
have gone on
all
rants.
this stuff, and that's part of the fun. But kind of just a closing statement here. What do you think is the next Rams move or the next couple of Rams moves? Next time we hop on here, what do you think is going to be the material we are talking about?
I think we're going to be talking about how Makai Lemon is a Los Angeles Ram. I do. I'm not saying I want them to get him. I'm not saying I don't want them to get him. I think it's a bit bold to use the 13th overall pick on a guy who's going to be your wide receiver three, but it would probably only be for a year because if Stafford retires, it looks like Devontae Adams will too. But can you imagine Makai Lemon panning out to be a top receiver in the NFL and pairing him with Puka Nacua, who's already the best receiver in the NFL, and then going out, get this, and possibly trading up to get a guy like Ty Simpson?
Uh,
Ty Simpson? No, you're not a fan?
I'm not a fan of this quarterback class. It's not personal. I think if we're gonna draft a quarterback, it needs to be next year. Next year's quarterback class is significantly better than this year's. I
I
will say
agree.
that.
I would agree with that. But I'm saying for if I mean the possibilities of us getting Makai Lemon and Ty Simpson are slim to none because we traded our second first round pick, which was the right move. But I wouldn't mind the Rams trading back and getting Simpson just to back up Stafford for a year, and then I mean if you are developed under Matthew Stafford for a full season, you got to be pretty good eventually. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get Simpson. I know you're not too high on him, but I would like the move.
I wouldn't be too mad, but at the same time, I wouldn't be like, oh, yes, we got Ty Simpson, because I think next year you're looking at the QB lineup. You're looking at probably everyone thinks Arch Manning is going to go #1 overall. So there's Arch
Mhm.
Manning right there. Um, there's Dante Moore out of Oregon. There's Jaden Maiava out of USC. I don't think he's the third
Mhm.
consensus overall guy, but my point is you have all these guys, you have multiple quarterbacks who are good enough to go in the first round. This year, I think you only have one quarterback who's good enough to go in the first round. And I think any other year, I think Mendoza probably could have been at the tail end of
Really?
the first round here.
You're not high
Um,
on him?
I'm high on him, but I think the only reason he's going, well, not the only reason, he's the best quarterback in this class, but this quarterback class is not great at all.
Right.
It's just not. But you know, this is why I'm not a general manager, is because I don't know everything, and Leslie and Sean McVay do. So uh F them picks. The new thing I've seen is say less because of less need.
That's
But
funny.
no, but this front office, they're gonna go out there, they're gonna make the necessary moves. We don't have to stress. We may question some moves, but at the end of the day, we're gonna be sitting here in the middle of the season. We're gonna be like, wow,
Mhm.
these guys are great. Hopefully, let's knock on some wood here. Let's hope they're
Yeah.
great. But any final thoughts, JT?
I think we pretty much covered everything. We know McDuffie's a great pickup. We know Watson's a great pickup, but I'm just really looking forward to Rams football again. I was saying to my friends and stuff that I think this is the only time in my life where I would actually skip over my favorite part of the year, which is summer, just to get back to Rams football, because I am very eager to see them win a Super Bowl, which I think they're going to do. I know I said that last year, but after these last two seasons and how they ended, I'd be surprised if Matthew Stafford doesn't go out on top, and I'm really looking forward to when that happens.
Can't say I disagree with you there. I think the Rams going into this next season should be viewed as the best team in the NFL. You can look at the Seahawks just win the Super Bowl, but the Seahawks just lost a couple players. Not
Mm-hmm.
just a couple, they lost a lot of players, a lot of key players. So
Kobe
I think the
Bryant, Tariq
Rams,
Woolen.
yeah, I think the Rams should be thought of as the best team in the NFL.
I agree.
I think if you say otherwise, you are either a Seahawks fan, 49er fan, Lions fan, Eagles fan, all these fans that just Saints fans, 'cause Saints fans still hate us for 5 years ago. They need to let it go.
It
It
was even
wasn't even
longer than
5 years.
that.
Doesn't even,
Sad.
yeah, it wasn't even 5 years. It was like 9 years.
Yeah,
I think I
it
was
was
in
a long time
elementary
ago.
school. But
Long time ago.
yeah, they need to let it go. But I mean, it's whatever. If the same thing happened to us, though, to be fair, we'd be sitting here with our pitchforks and whatever. But I'm so hyped for this season. I will say it over and over again. I'm looking forward to the draft now because the hype of free agency was up here. Now it's kind of down here again. But no, next stop is the draft, and what the Rams do in the draft will remain a mystery until we know. But that's gonna be it from us today. Felt good to be back on here, man. It's been a minute, but we're back, and we're gonna be posting draft content very shortly, probably here in like a week or so for me. I don't know about you, but
But yeah, I'll be posting content throughout the whole off season. You can find us on Ramblin' Rams on Instagram or JT Sports Network on Instagram. Um, yeah, find us there, or Jay Torillo on TikTok. That's where I post most of my content, so you can go check it out. But also follow Mr. Rue over here if you want to drop your socials as well.
yeah, just by now y'all know the drill. Rams active on everything. So
Yeah.
also this guy JT here, he has an interesting project here about to start soon, and that is the World Wiffle Ball
Oh yeah.
Classic. He gets buddies together and they have a good old time. That's actually pretty entertaining. Friends, I've watched some game replays, and you guys
Oh yeah.
you guys get you guys get down to business. So
Oh
go and check them out if that's your kind of thing. JT, we are 2 weeks from today. It is time for Dodger baseball.
that's right.
So
That's right.
life is gonna get good here very shortly. So it's gonna be it for us today. As always, it's been Rune and JT. Go follow JT on everything. Now,
Now.
now. Yeah, that's gonna be it from us. It's been Rune and JT. We'll see you next time.